Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom's back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Today I want to talk about prize cars, but mainly the ones that matter the most. As Top Drives grows as a bigger and bigger game with more and more cars for us to choose from, prize cars become more and more redundant. Back in the day in 2017, any legendary prize car was a prize car that anybody wanted, right? It was that elusive kind of car that, you couldn't unpack and you needed to win, and everybody wanted a little bit of piece of that. But now, prize cars are a dime a dozen. There are some really good ones out there, like the Pikes Peak 208, and there's some really terrible ones out there, like the Alfa Skagera. So, in today's video, I want to talk about categories and what are the must-win prize cars. Whether you are a beginner, intermediate, advanced player, if you are a collector, if you go for tri-series, whatever that may be, what are the most guaranteed bloodbaths, in my opinion, the most valuable prize cars. So the way I'm going to be judging everything is through these categories. When I was young, I used to watch this movie. It was called Pacific Rim. Some of you might know that. It wasn't that long ago, like 2012. So that's like an 11-year-old. Jeez, isn't it 11? Oh my god, 11 years old. Okay, anyway, Pacific Rim, right? I used to watch that when I was a kid, and it was basically like all these Jaegers, and they're fighting kaijus, which were like these alien thingies from the deep or whatever. And in the movie, they categorized every single alien. You have your category 1, which is like, oh, easy, it's no threat, we can kill that easily with a couple of bullets, blah blah blah. And then you have your category 5s, where you're gonna be like, oh, nothing would kill it besides a nuclear bomb. You know what I mean? Like, bullets isn't gonna do anything, missiles aren't gonna do anything, etc., etc., etc. So over here, as you can see, category 1, I just put Magikarp because I couldn't find a category 1 kaiju from Pacific Rim. Category 3 was Knife Head. I think that was like at the start of the movie. Category 5 at the end of the movie, if you remember that guy. I forgot his name, Slatter or something like that. But anyway, let us get into it. I'm going to translate that into Top Drives. And as you can see, category 1 is like the Spiker C8, right? It's shit. It has handicap performance. Handling sucks. 0 to 60 kind of sucks. Top speed is relatively fine, I guess, but what makes it even more useless is that it is seldomly used because the Netherlands is a country that barely gets any love in Top Drives. The brand Spiker is also really irrelevant. You barely get any Spiker events, and you get none of them in clubs. And by tag European Revolution, you will never have a standalone European Revolution event, or at least it'll be really rare because there's not a lot of variety in that update. Then you have things like category 3, which is, in my opinion, the Mercedes AMG SLS GT3, which back in the day used to be categorized probably as a category 5. It's good in some niches, right? As a Mercedes, it's like the second best, only behind the C11. The C9's not in the game yet, though, so there's that might be coming. It's got popular tags, right? It comes from a popular country. Germany is really popular in the game. Mercedes is a relatively popular brand in Top Drives, and it has respectable performance. It handles incredibly well. That is its standout statistic. Then you have category 5. You have your Peugeot 208 T16, literally highly versatile. You can use it in almost anything that is dry, twisty, hybrid, fast. It's standout in performance. It's the best in multiple niches across the board. It has popular tags. It's in a popular country, France, and it is a pretty popular, well, actually really popular brand in Peugeot. We see Peugeots a lot in multiplayer events in clubs, etc. Okay, so etc, not etc. And obviously it has that World Expo bonus as well, making it even more insane. But anyway, well, actually it doesn't have the World Expo bonus, but some of the cars that you will see might have the World Expo bonus, which makes it even more valuable. So today's episode, I want to talk about guaranteed bloodbaths. What are the strongest legendaries, in my opinion? If they are coming up as a tri-series, you should be fighting tooth and nail to try and get those cars. Okay, I'm showing 10. There are definitely more than 10 bloodbath legendary prize cars, but I'm going to be showing you 10 in today's video. And the best way to start is with the cream of the crop, the Peugeot 208 T16 Pikes Peak, the ever so dominant in almost everything. As you can see, it is great in so many niches. France, four-wheel drive, one-seater, slicks, 2010s, 2013, hatchbacks, motorsport, Peugeot, petrol, you name it, the car's got it. It's going to be the best as long as it's asphalt dry. Over here, as you can see, it beats out a lot of cars in the twisty track sets, and it actually beats some of the best in the game, like the Audi R18 TDI Ultra, the Volkswagen Pikes Peak, and also the Remake Navarra, and of course the BAC Mono. Dominant track sets include the heavy twisties like your slalom and your G-Force, your twisties like your twisty circuit, your twisty road, your hybrids like your hairpin road, and then shorter burst drags where it's also pretty good in as well. So that's the first bloodbath. If that ever comes back, that is a car to look for. Moving on, another one would be the Remake Navarra. So the Remake Navarra also very, very dominant in these categories. 2020s, four-wheel drive, two-seater, electric, rest of the world, but we don't really see that anymore, so I'm gonna put a question mark over there. And of course, in a general sense, it is your best dragster, beating things like the Peugeot T16 Pikes Peak, the Volkswagen IDR, the Koenigsegg Yamera, the Lotus Avia, some really, really good dragsters, but the Remake Navarra is the cream of the crop. Dominant drags include drag sets, test bull, it's okay, but obviously it will lose to the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute. Weaknesses, though, for the Remake Navarra include the country, Croatia. It will never get its own event, as well as the fact that it is not from World Expo, and also from a pretty irrelevant update. Well, to be fair, it came in the same update with the T16, I believe, but the T16 just seems to be that little more relevant. But the Navarra is absolutely fantastic, definitely category 5. Moving on to our next prize car is the Volkswagen IDR Pikes Peak. You take away the T16, you take away the Navarra, and the Volkswagen IDR is the best car on show. Now I'm comparing it against some German heavy hitters like the 918 Spider, the R18 TDI Ultra, the Mercedes C11, etc., etc. And as you can see, absolute dominant performance. Germany, German Renaissance, motorsport, four-wheel drive, one-seater, Volkswagen 2010s and 2018s. Dominant track sets include basically anything within Germany. It will be incredibly versatile, but also generally it's pretty good. Weaknesses for the IDR includes the fact that it's not from World Expo. Yes, it is sad to say that it literally is a weakness now if you did not come from World Expo or before. Anyway, moving on to bloodbath number 4, the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute. Even though the Jesko Attack was released, the Jesko Attack is a little bit handicapped because it doesn't really know what it wants to be. Am I a dragster? Am I a twisty specialist? At the end of the day, the Koenigsegg Jesko Attack, it's meant for the fast circuit. It is a fast circuit car, but when it comes to the pure drags, the Jesko Absolute is still the way to go. Still the best option for drags, especially on the test bowl. Dominant on rear-wheel drive, performance 2020s, two-seater coupe and cabriolet. That's a double body style niche. Dominant track sets, undisputed on the test bowl, and great on drags. Weakness, however, includes the country, Sweden, and of course, once again, not World Expo. You know what is World Expo though? Yes, that is right. It's the Hennessey Venom GT Spider. Now, I think a lot of people might be saying, oh, Blossom, like you said that the Jesko Absolute is category 5. Why is the Venom also category 5 when the Jesko is just better everywhere? Look, I acknowledge that, but one big caveat. The Hennessey Venom GT is World Expo. That's how much, I guess, freaking bias Hutch has put on World Expo. Anything World Expo and after just gets an extra boost now because herder, it's new. But yeah, it is basically the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute of the past year for every World Expo and above, right? Incredibly dominant in rear-wheel drive performance, 2010s, USA two-seater coupe, roadster petrol, World Expo Plus, 2016, and it's also the most important thing about the Hennessey and why I'm putting it here is it's actually really unique from the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute. Number one is Swedish, one is American. Number two, one is in the 2020s, one's in the 2010s. Number three, one is basically, a coupe and a roadster, and the other one is like a coupe and a cabriolet, something like that. Also, the Hennessey is petrol, whereas the Koenigsegg Jesko is like a hybrid or whatever. So there is enough differences to split the two cars where they won't be overlapping in many events. Dominant tracks, very similar test bowl ground drags, and the weakness, of course, is going to be the existence of the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute. But as you can see, the Hennessey Venom GT Spider is a better car than the Koenigsegg Jesko Attack, at least comparing a 332 to a 233. Now, moving on to another Category 5, one that we've not seen yet, the Hennessey Venom F5. When this car comes up, you can bet your ass you're going to want this, because this is going to make the Hennessey Venom GT Spider redundant, but also it will also make the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute redundant. That was a huge thing. So it's got that massive potential threat factor, you know what I mean? Dominant categories include rear-wheel drive, performance, 2020s, USA 2-seater, petrol, coupe, World Expo, of course, once again, and its top speed stuff. Dominant tracks include the test bowl, and it is great on the drags. Now, moving on to another potential threat is the Porsche 919 Hybrid. Again, not much that we know about the car besides the fact that it has the highest RQ in the game. So hopefully it will talk the talk, or hopefully it will walk the walk, because it's talking the talk, right? So dominant categories include 2010s, 2018s, Germany, motorsport, four-wheel drive, World Expo, one-seater, and of course the general niches throughout. This looks like the Audi R18 TDI Ultra Killer. And it's really smart of Hutch to release this after the Audi, because if they release this before the Audi and it's better in every way, nobody's going to want the Audi anymore. Dominant tracks include heavy twisty tracks has hybrid tracks has fast, short burst drag. So that's 0 to 60 for sure. It is definitely a potential threat. Now, moving back to cars that exist in the game, it's going to be the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak. This is the most dominant off-road car in the game because it handles the best. Better than the Lancia Delta, the Peugeot 405, the 205, and the 205 T16 Evo 2. Dominant categories include the off-road, on-road, dry, 90s, Japan, four-wheel drive, SUV, motorsport, JPT, and petrol, and of course one-seater. And of course, dominant tracks include twisty off-road, drag off-road, and twisty dry, along with drag dry in the short burst 0 to 100 and quarter mile and hill climb only. Weakness, again, not World Expo. That's the only thing. This is one of the, if not the best in class. The Escudo Pikes Peak is a prize car which I genuinely am so grateful to own and have max in my garage. Now, moving on, the Lotus Avia. Yes, a car that I have roasted many times. It is, in my opinion, category 5 too. Dominant categories include World Expo Plus, the what I would like to call the Hutch bias, because not only is it World Expo Plus, it's also British. Whenever there's a British event, this is the best car to use for the drags and fast circuit, or North Loop or anything like that. Best in UK 2020s, Lotus, four-wheel drive, hybrids, general, and World Expo Plus as well. Yeah, just generally the World Expo Plus is going to be dominant, because that's when you take away the T16 208, that's when you take away the Navarra, that's when you take away those super strong Koenigseggs, and the Lotus Avia becomes the best, because when it comes to the drags, it's only competing against the Audi R18, Bugatti Carrera R, 911 GT2, which are more twisty orientated cars anyway. The biggest threat towards the Lotus Avia is the Ultima RS, but it only wins on the 0 to 100 and the test bowl, nothing else. Weakness includes, well, if it's outside of World Expo, the Avia is actually quite terrible, to be honest, and its RQ is, I still think, way too high. 103, I still think it's way too high. Now, last but not least, the last car that I want to showcase, of course, is the prize car that is coming out next week, or this weekend actually. It's the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 8 R S. Dominant categories include Rain, Standard Tires, Saloon, 5-seaters, APGP, World Expo Plus, 2000, City Streets, Japan, and of course the entirety of Asia. Dominant tracks include anything Rain, Twisty, or Hybrid. And of course, weaknesses for the car includes rain drag and basically anything called the Cadillac 16 in those scenarios. But yeah, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution is the best in class. It is the best standard tire car, I can say without a doubt. It's not the highest RQ standard tire car in the game, but sometimes Hutch doesn't even know their game anyway. Handling is key, where this car is going to be super useful in, and I guess they know it to some degree because they are making a tri-series out of an RQ82 after all. But anyway guys, that's going to be it for today. Those are 10 category 5 prize cars, what I believe to be the best of the best. Have I missed out on any? Let me know down in the comments below. If I made this video back in 2020 or 2021, it would be a completely different lineup of cars. We'd be talking about the Senna, the P1 GTR, maybe even the Apollo Intensa Emozione, and even the Pagani Zonda, Zonda Revolution, I believe. But anyway guys, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed it or not. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold